Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far as the days tick down to the release of Call of Duty Vanguard and of course the start of the CDL 2022 season. Many pros have their opinions on how exactly the format should change going into next year. Huke and SlasheR certainly have some things to say. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, very good news here from Hitch. She tweeted out on the 4th of September, really hoping to do some kind of off-season series, tournament type stuff, Black Ops 2 type stuff featuring old rosters. And you can see some of the legendary rosters we looked at right here a couple of weeks ago. Comes out with this and confirms yesterday he just got funding for this. So pumped about it. 4 show matches, $16,000 prize pool. All proceeds from the stream go to charity. It's awesome stuff. What players do you want to see hop on Black Ops 2 once again? So fantastic work. And yeah, if we can form some of these OG teams, it would just absolutely be superb. And I mean, we looked at earlier today, right? Karma likely to get to make a return. Could he team up with Parasite again or something and get back this old free impact team with Killer and Miracles? It would be a good time, and I'm sure he's just going to do a great job putting this together, whatever is possible to happen. This I thought was kind of interesting from Simp, right? Because there was some talk from the Control Freak guys about these like alpha Control Freaks that apparently they used to make and don't make anymore, and apparently these are the ones that Simp uses. He's not particularly happy about it. Well, we will see you later. So last he's just say, okay, yeah, you're screwed now, like Simp's going to fall off massively. And as he says right here, I'm chalked if they don't make those Control Freaks anymore. I think he also went on to say he's got like a stash of them, so he's probably going to be okay. But it is it's kind of interesting to see this from Simp, that maybe these Control Freaks are the lifeblood of his gameplay, and maybe that's the secret to his success. Even though I do imagine he could probably change controllers or change Control Freaks or whatever and still use them to pretty great effect. I know that Clayster uses like they call it the Eiffel Tower, whatever, that he's got on his stick, because he's got like the massive Control Freak thing on this one, which I think he's used for many a year. I think this might be like a smaller kind of CQC type thing, but anyway, it's kind of funny. And well, this from Zed I thought was interesting because we saw a couple of weeks ago he retired from professional play and retired from the challenger scene, but also from the professional side of things. And he says, again, now I think about it, I would be such a good coach. So it would be great to see if Zed got an opportunity somewhere or other as a coaching staff, right? Because we don't really know what's going on right now with a lot of the coaches for these rosters. There's been a lot of shuffles. We've seen like Revan leave New York. We've seen the coach for Florida get dropped. That's Ricky Arturo, maybe like leaves or dropped. It's tough to say. But yeah, Coach Mania is continuing. Maybe that's the route that Zed goes down next. I think he could be very much a valuable asset to a team like Paris, for example, if they want to build a European roster, which hopefully they will decide to. And this I thought was funny from Satan's actually SlasheR when he sees Dead Silence as a field upgrade yet again, as it seems to be in this title. And yeah, Thanos not necessarily too happy. Maybe gentlemen's agreements will have to come in absolute force this year. But lots of talk lately about the possibility of what the next title looks like. Of course, the Vanguard comes out on the 5th of November or whatever. But then, of course, the season is going to begin. Los Angeles Thieves, a couple of weeks ago now, probably last week or something, when they confirmed their roster, they were discussing well, the possibility of a Black Ops 4 style CWL-esque league. And well, pretty confident that it is going to be entirely on LAN. Now, the Los Angeles Guerrillas guys had a fair few things to say about the possibility of that as well, and what they want to see in the game. And to be fair to LAG, after having like a torrid couple of seasons, I'm pretty sure they're like 11th in terms of like Twitter rankings that EasyMac did in terms of like overall followers, just ahead of Paris Legion. That's probably not too hard to do. But yeah, LAG, like they've been doing some great content the last few days since they've signed their team. They've been doing all sorts of good stuff and you know, making videos. This was kind of a funny one with when some pros matched up against each other, like it was Accuracy on the other team, and Huke was doing his best to take him down. But there was also this video they did a few days ago when they initially confirmed their roster that you know, they were talking about their team composition, Huke and SlasheR, their history between them, and what it's going to take for them to actually, you know, win and make things work, and the confidence they have in themselves, given the fact that they're all really hard workers, and that's going to be very important. And the battle for Los Angeles, right, and the excitement that holds for this upcoming season, no doubt about that. But also towards the end, they discussed their dream format for the league. What Huke would like to see, bringing back open events and making that work. But SlasheR's really like some of his key gripes with the season. First of all, he wants it to be on LAN, no doubt about that one. I'm pretty sure everyone does, fans and pros most certainly included. But also, he's very much looking for a situation where we don't have these massive buys through the winners bracket and don't have players starting in the losers bracket as well, because kind of makes things a foregone conclusion at times.
Like league matches, majors, online versus LAN. Like, what's your dream format?
Dude, they got to bring back opens for the culture. I don't know, dude. The AW year was pretty intense. I mean, they had 2Ks and 5Ks every... It was intense, but it kind of made it fun because like you always had something to play. There was like constant competition. We were playing 2Ks, 5Ks every weekend, and then on top of that, there was like 13 open events or something like that. There's 13 events, like 9 opens. I don't know. I would just say I'm a big fan of open events because it gives an opportunity for amateurs to come into the pro bracket and make a name for themselves, and that's kind of how I came up.
There's just more matches too being played in those
more
events.
matches, yeah.
It's constantly something to watch. You're playing 3 or 4 times a day at least. Those things were definitely dope. I think the biggest 2 things for me are, number 1, obviously everything being on LAN. That is the most important thing by far. Number 2, the format. The only thing I actually care about is I don't think teams should be starting in losers, and I don't think teams should be starting in winners round 3. It should be a normal bracket. Figure out how to do it. Whether that's, only 8 teams qualifying for through a pool system or whatever for the bracket. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead, but teams only having to win 3 matches to win an event is kind of absurd to me. And teams starting in loser round 1, especially when it was online, is also kind of messed up. But those are the big 2 for me.
So this is what SlasheR had to say earlier in the season. You can see on the 1st of August right here. Every team should be at champs and nobody should start at losers. If the season was entirely on LAN, then that is a different story. Because that's the thing. The online versus LAN discussion was a massive one. No one could really figure out properly. And they did it last year right in Modern Warfare where they said, okay, every team goes to champs. It was online. This season was a bit of a mess. To be fair, this season, despite a lot of it being online, it was the online league that we had this year was far better prepared in terms of servers and issues like that being resolved than it was the previous season when they were just going into it really in Modern Warfare and everything was kind of chaos. And to be fair, at the end we did get some LAN. At least pros knew right at the start of the year what the situation was, that yes, only 8 teams are going to go. But I think the buys is kind of a big discussion point really, because it really has been the big point about FaZe, for example, the last couple of years. The fact that especially this season, that they're pretty much always making it to the grand finals, almost every time. Apart from the one terrible result they had at the Stage 5 Major, where they of course lost to Minnesota Rokkr and then the Seattle Surge. Outside of that, FaZe win every single grand finals this entire year. And part of that is because they do so well in their online league matches that they set themselves up for success at the majors. Of course, I don't hate the player, hate the game in the sense that if that's frustrating, then it's not necessarily their fault for playing the system as best they can do. But you'd see situations like this transpire. This, of course, is the Major 5 tournament where they didn't have the greatest result. They lost to OpTic in the regular stage, you guys might remember, so they found themselves in winners round 1. But very often, FaZe would be this team here in winners round 2, already needing 3 series wins to win the entire tournament. This was not a thing that used to happen back in the day, and of course, it's understandable the way they did these majors, that the seeding for the majors the past couple of weeks has a very important impact on how the major tournament goes, but it does mean that for a team like FaZe, people are considering them in the dynasty territory, which is certainly understandable, but at the same time, a lot of the tourneys they won were in situations like this. They won a couple of good league matches, and then they put themselves in prime position really in terms of the bracket play, and then they won 3 series to win the entire tournament, which is it's understandable why some pros and some fans as well most certainly look back at some of the other tournaments that the likes of Complexity and OpTic Gaming would win, where they would have to go through interpools, they'd have to win their pool or get top 2 in their pool, then come out into a massive 16 team gauntlet bracket, make your way through that, if not the losers bracket, and then win the entire thing. Nowadays that's not really how it goes, and SlasheR thinks certainly starting in losers is something that just should not happen. There should be a way to do this without that being the case. I think honestly what I thought really going into the World Championship was that they might just do something like, okay, first plays 8th and 2 plays 7th or whatever, and just have a double team bracket. At the same time, it did mean that having the bracket like this meant the last couple of weeks of league play matches were much more interesting, because there was something to fight for in the sense that these teams were trying to fight for that 6th spot so they can start in winners and fight for the 2nd seed so they can get the bye. But at the same time, that did mean that FaZe, when they go to the World Championship, they win this one series against New York. They then beat the Dallas Empire, I'm pretty sure, in the winners finals, and then they took down Ultra in the grand finals, right? And that was job done. 3 series in there and out of there, as SlasheR says he's not necessarily convinced that should be the case. And with what Huke was saying, right, about bringing back some open events, of course, it's very tough to see that ever happening in the franchise situation. But I did want to mention the possibility of it, because this was back in Black Ops 4. This is the first event in Black Ops 4 back in December 2018, which would be phenomenal to see, to be honest, if it happens here once again this year, because, we're talking about this Black Ops 4 style league or whatever that Los Angeles Thieves were talking about. This is what happened back then. You can see this absolute gauntlet. All the teams go into these pools. pools, and one team comes in from the challengers like amateur bracket effectively into each of these pools. They play out the brackets, and yeah, this is how things go. Then they move on to the regular series. This would be absolutely phenomenal to see, and this is the kind of stuff that just makes it so much harder and so much more rewarding, really, to win tournaments. At the same time, what this does mean is way more matches being played. Like, there was so much going on Friday, Saturday at these tournaments, and they had to have an Alpha stream, a Bravo stream, a Charlie stream, a Delta stream, even to keep up with all the content. And, well, the league probably doesn't really want to do that. It wants to minimize things as much as possible. At the same time, though, the league at some point is going to have to expand to 16 teams. When they do that, there's going to be a lot more matches to be played, which means that can they just do it all on one stream? Maybe not, right? Maybe they are going to have to do an Alpha stream and a Bravo stream. I think that would make a lot of sense. And maybe at some point it happens, and maybe if they do that this year, they can actually accommodate much more, well, many more matches going on at the same time. I think certainly that would be a positive change. As SlasheR says right here, for example, format needs to change. Like, you know, starting and losers at champs is absolutely whack, and with the buys as well from the winners side. So I wonder what they'll change. Definitely intrigued to your perspective in the comment section below on what they could even possibly change, because it's tough to say. And Octane was frustrated as well that not all teams were going to champs, of course. That was a big discussion at the time. But of course, there's the other question mark of, okay, if the teams that do go to champs, like, how does that format exactly work? And, well, what could the season look like going forward? SlasheR certainly has his ideas, how that transpires in reality, what some of the pros are being saying to the league, what they're actually going to do about it, right? Because even if the league is listening to the pros and what they have to say, doesn't mean that they are necessarily going to integrate that. And just some other nice pieces of content here from Los Angeles Grillers. Don't challenge Thanos when he has a burst CR. His top 5 weapons in COD: the M8 from Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, the M16 from COD 4, the MSMC from Black Ops 2, you can't go wrong with that, SGG in World War 2, and the ACR from Modern Warfare 2 as well. So yeah, clearly an AR player, but the MSMC just so good that it sneaks in there regardless. And yeah, we looked actually yesterday real quick about the Rainbow Six camo that Lionman made for that game, and this is just the example of some sort of thing from Lionman here for OpTic that could go into Call of Duty Vanguard this upcoming year. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset the YouTube algorithm. I know you enjoy this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.